Be honest, bro. We've all been heavily addicted to something. Even more so in this day and age. People always try and cope and tell you, oh, I'm not addicted, I can stop anytime I want, but we all know it's the biggest cope of them all. And trust me, out of everyone I know, I probably have the most addictive personality out of all of them. If I get hooked on something, I can't stop. Doesn't matter if it's gaming, partying, scrolling, anything. It can be really bad, man. One thing we don't actually realize about it though, is it can actually be insanely good if we can train our minds to use this addiction productively. And that's what I'm going to tell you about today. How to harness this almost always negative trait and force it to become a positive one. So, what's up boys, big old Jimbo here, currently on day 8 of 100 of the Spartan regime. No social media, no scrolling, no gooning, no nicotine, no drugs, mandatory daily routine and daily exercise, still going strong. Now look, to really explain to you what I'm talking about here, I need to tell you a story or two about myself. I've always had a pretty bad problem with addiction, right? Even to this day. When I was a kid, I was kind of just allowed to game 24/7 since I was like 5 years old. And so that's basically all I've ever done my whole life. Throughout school, I would just play 360 like Xbox till 3 a.m, wake up for school at 7:30, be tired as shit, and then on the weekend, I just wouldn't leave my house and just play for like 20 hours. Yeah, rookie numbers, I know. We barely even started yet, brother. Just wait. On screen right now, I'm going to show you some hours I've got on different games on Steam. 306, 141, 119, 99. Not super impressive, I know, but listen, it's not the number of hours that's the problem. It's the time window in which they were played in. Have a look. 306 hours, we start off pretty meekly at 38 hours per week. That was only 8 weeks. 141 hours was in 14 days, averaging 70 hours a week. 119 hours in 13 days, averaging 64 hours per week. I also completed the game like 100%, all the achievements. And 99 hours, 13 games, 53 hours per week. Now, the reason I mention this is because, first of all, this is only a few games. And you've got to bear in mind also, I have a full-time job while I'm doing this. So I'm working 6 days a week and pouring all of my free time into binging the fuck out of these games instead of doing anything productive. And when I wasn't playing the games, I'd be watching content while eating, like while I'm at work. You get the idea. I was obsessed, right? But this isn't even the craziest part. Back when I was a serious League of Legends addict, right? I got it in my head one year that I really wanted to get Diamond. Now, at this point in my life, it was a good like 8 years ago or something, but I was a serious stoner, like a degenerate, complete degenerate. And this was probably one of the worst part of my smoking career, where I was literally smoking like 4 or 5 at night after work, just in my room, stinking my house up, staying up till 6 in the morning and then just waking up in the afternoon. But luckily, I yearned for a goal. I wanted some sort of progression. So I put on League and I tried to take it a bit more seriously than I used to. Now, this is going to be the most bonkers, backwards story of addiction you've ever heard. I promise you. I promise. I wanted to grind League, right? But since I was waking up in the afternoon, I'd only have like an hour or two before my work shift, and I couldn't get like a big 5-hour session. Now, for me, once I start playing a game, I need a big session. I can't just play for an hour or two. That was not an option. I couldn't play after work either because I had to smoke during those hours, right? So I decided, wait a minute, what if I just start going to bed a little bit earlier? Sure, I'd smoke less, but then I could play more League. So I started going to bed at around 3 a.m. and only smoking about 2 or 3 a night. Then that made me realise, wait, if I sleep at 2 or even 1 a.m, I can wake up at 9 or 10 and have a huge 5 to 6 hour League sesh. And so I made it my habit when I got home, I'd have my dinner, smoke just the one, go straight to bed, and somehow League of Legends fixed my sleeping pattern. Now wait, it doesn't stop there. Relax. I started min-maxing. Every action I took was to benefit my rank on League. I'm not shitting you. I remember reading somewhere that if your brain was dehydrated, then it couldn't function properly. So I made sure I was drinking plenty of water, a shit ton of water. I remember watching a coaching video where the coach said if you're hungry, it's going to distract you and you're not going to be able to perform at your best. So I would always make sure to have a big, healthy breakfast before playing as well. My mental state was garbage. I'd routinely flip out on people in the game, so I knew I had to try and calm myself down. So I started taking morning walks, I started meditating, and then before I knew it, with no real conscious decision, in a matter of weeks, I went from being this degenerate stoner sleeping at 6 a.m. to waking up at 8 or 9 in the morning, going for a walk, meditating, eating a healthy breakfast and staying hydrated, and making sure all the hygiene and like general cleanliness of my room was good, just so my brain had no distractions. It was, ironically, maybe the healthiest routine I had ever been in up to my point in life. And I did it. I hit diamond in about a month or two, I can't remember exactly, and I actually peaked in the top 0.5% of players at one point. It's pretty mental to think that such a degenerate game like League, known for its rampant toxicity and miserable player base of maidenless losers, bro, honestly, I'm not gonna lie, somehow managed to kick me into one of the best routines I'd ever been in. And it was literally because I was obsessed with achieving my goal of being diamond. Now, it would be great if that was all it did, but unfortunately not everything was beneficial, which is the problem. I was still new to this and I was still really mentally unhealthy at this point. So while the obsession did have a few benefits, unfortunately it completely controlled me. Like, I feel like I was barely in control of what I was doing, right? Because outside of League, I promise you, the only thing I was thinking about was League. When I woke up after the walk and everything, I'd have a coffee, watch tutorial videos or guides, and then when I'd go to work, I would have my laptop out, be watching coaching sessions, VOD reviews, challenger commentary-less gameplays, anything. Then I'd get home, eat my dinner, have a smoke, I'd be watching fundamental explanations, top lane matchups, like macros. Dude, from the moment I wake up to the moment I went to sleep, my brain was League 24/7. Nothing else took over my mind. It was crazy. And the reason why that's such a problem is because I had no control over it whatsoever. And because I had no control over it, once I hit my goal of diamond, everything just fell apart because I had no goal anymore. I had the identity of an average player and I thought there's no way I can get D1 or Masters. I'm not good enough for that. So I just dwindled around low diamond for months, just getting angrier by the day and just like not knowing what to do next. I think in that arc, I ended up getting 3 different accounts permanently suspended because I would just get to diamond, all caps flame people in the chat and just have complete mental breakdowns basically. It was a really, really, really bad part of the life, to be honest with you. But ironically, this arc taught me quite a lot. I know it sounds really weird to say that I got a valuable life lesson from getting diamond on League, but I genuinely did. Goal setting was one big failure here, which led to the downfall because I didn't have any goal over hitting diamond. Like, that was it. That was my finish line, which was a bad problem. But that obviously wasn't the main one. The main one was I had no control over the addiction. It controlled me, basically. It showed me how powerful addictions can be, though, because, I mean, trust me, I was dialed in, bro. Dude, I was literally smashing people in this game. It was absurd, but even though I didn't realize it at the time, now years and years later, like 8 years later, I've kind of realized if you learn how to harness this and you control it, not the other way around, I feel like you can literally change your life in weeks. It's literally what I'm doing right now. Like, I'm addicted to my routine. I'm addicted to walking, meditating, going to the gym, language learning, posting on YouTube, you name it. And it's really satisfying. Like, I'm absolutely obsessed with this stuff right now. There's one small change that makes a difference, though. I think this is the difference between obsessing over it and it obsessing you, if that makes sense, right? And it's making sure you're not obsessed with the goal or the outcome or like a result. Because most of these external factors, you don't really have much control over them. Like, in theory, right? I could be meditating, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be mindful. I could read a book. It doesn't mean it's going to make me smarter. And like, I can post on YouTube and I can go to the gym. It doesn't guarantee I'm going to get big muscles and I'm going to get loads of views, right? I can't control any of that stuff. But I can control the fact that I'll meditate every day. I can control the fact that I'm going to continue to read, that I'm going to go to the gym, and then I'm going to post on here every day to maybe make a community of like-minded people, you know. I control all of that. So that's what I fixate on. That's what I'm getting obsessed with. And I'll be honest, it's kind of all I think about during the day. Even after like I'm done with the daily routine, I'll be at work and I'll be sitting at work thinking, man, I can't wait to get up tomorrow and do the morning routine again. Like, I'm dead serious. I'm like, dude, I can't wait for push day at the gym tomorrow. I can't wait to like pick up a new book and start reading. Like, it's absolutely crazy how this can really change your life, right? We should really be obsessing over stuff like that and not letting some algorithm decide what we're going to use all our free time on. Like, you're literally letting like Zuckerberg decide what you obsess over. You're letting other people who are just chasing views decide what you obsess over. We've got people getting millions of views at the moment, making a 1 hour documentary on some fucking millionaire streamer potentially zapping his dog. Like, what the fuck are we doing, guys? Why are we watching this shit? It's insane. You're watching two fully grown millionaire men who don't give a fuck about you argue over whether or not he has a shock collar, and this went on for months. Do we really have nothing better to do? Nothing better to obsess over? Of course we do. Of course we do. Man, come on. You gotta get addicted to the journey, not your life, not the results, right? I'm not telling you to be ashamed of like wanting some external gratification every now and again. I mean, shit, I do it as well. I step on the scales in the morning and I think, God, I hope I lose some weight this morning, you know? I open the analytics page, I'm like, oh, I hope I gain some subs. Like, yeah, of course, we can all want, but it's the obsession that you have to worry about, the addiction. You need to make sure you're obsessing over your journey, not just the results. You understand what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to say it, because you know, you get back what you put into the world. And yeah, of course, it's going to take a while, right? I think that's why it's so hard to get addicted to this kind of stuff, because there's no immediate feedback loop. There's no instant dopamine. When I win a league game, I get a fancy green plus 23 LP or a cool animation rank up screen, right? That goes hard as fuck. But when I go to the gym, eat healthy and meditate, I don't get rewarded for it. Obviously, you do get rewarded for it, but your brain can't comprehend because it's in the future. And that is where patience comes into play. Look, I say this all the time in these videos. The path is boring. Learning to be mindful, present, and not pay attention to the fact that you are currently bored. If you can do that for a week, you'll realize you don't need all these bullshit addictions just sucking the dopamine out your brain. You don't need the social media. You don't need the partying. They're still fun to do if you can control it, but you don't need them, man. Anyway, I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm just absolutely waffling at this point. I really didn't mean to like tangent off there so much. I went a bit off topic, but basically what I'm trying to say is like I've learned to obsess over the journey, right? And at the moment it feels really healthy. And it all started with removing the shit habits that I was talking about, the Instagrams, the Reddit, the fucking gooning, and all this shit, bro. Like, I think once my brain realized it's got nothing left to obsess over, it gravitated towards the only possible reward it could see, the only one I was giving it, and that was improvement, progression, purpose. Like, even though the rewards are really far away, it was the only option it had left, so it had to obsess over it, you know? And yeah, it might take a while, like I said, but we're gonna get there, and when we do, it's gonna be fucking worth it, boys, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, it's been your boy, big old fucking Jimbo. Love the journey, man. I'll see you in the next.